what wisdom really means. When we hear the word wisdom, many people imagine a scholar surrounded by books, or perhaps an elder with a long beard offering deep, philosophical advice. Society often makes wisdom look like something rare, something only a few people truly have. But the truth is very different. Wisdom isn't about how many degrees you have, how many books you've read, or how eloquently you can speak. Wisdom is about how you live what you've learned, and how you see the world after walking through its ups and downs. As we grow older, we sometimes doubt ourselves. We think, I'm just ordinary. I don't have special knowledge. I've made mistakes, I've struggled, how can I be wise? But here's the secret. Your mistakes, your struggles, and your life lessons are exactly what make you wise. Wisdom isn't measured by perfection, it's measured by perspective. It's the ability to step back, reflect, and see life from angles younger people haven't yet experienced. And chances are, you are much wiser than you give yourself credit for. In this chapter, we'll uncover 5 signs that reveal your wisdom, often without you realizing it. These signs show up not in classrooms or textbooks, but in the way you live your daily life. Today in part 1 we'll explore the very first sign, one of the clearest markers of true wisdom. You listen more than you speak. Sign 1, you listen more than you speak. In a world full of noise, where everyone wants to talk, argue, and prove their point, true wisdom often shows itself in silence. If you've reached a stage in life where you find yourself listening more than speaking, it's not because you've run out of things to say. It's because you've learned that listening is far more powerful than talking. When we are young, we often believe that speaking makes us important. We want to be heard, to prove ourselves, to show what we know. But with age and experience, something shifts. We begin to understand that listening allows us to learn, to connect, and to truly understand others. And this understanding is the essence of wisdom. Think about it. When you listen, you are not just hearing words, you are receiving the stories, emotions, and lessons of another person's life. Listening shows respect. It tells people that their experiences matter, that their voices deserve space. And in return, listening often teaches us more than speaking ever could. Why listening is a mark of wisdom. Listening shows patience. Wisdom comes with the ability to wait, to allow others the time to express themselves without rushing in with your own thoughts. Listening builds relationships. People feel valued and understood when someone truly listens to them. Strong relationships are not built on endless talking, but on meaningful listening. Listening brings clarity. When you pause and listen, you notice details you would have missed if you were too focused on speaking. You understand not just the words but the feelings behind them. Listening reduces conflict. Many arguments come from people not hearing each other. A wise listener calms situations by allowing space for every side to be heard. Lessons from age. The power of listening. Over the years, you may have noticed that listening has taught you lessons no book ever could. For example, when you listen to a younger person talk about their struggles, you remember your own youth and see how far you've come. When you listen to a friend share their pain, you not only comfort them but also deepen your own sense of compassion. When you listen to a story from another culture or perspective, your world expands. You realize that wisdom is everywhere, waiting to be heard. It's no coincidence that some of the wisest figures in history were known as great listeners. They didn't rush to give advice. They listened deeply, then spoke carefully. Their words carried weight because they were built on understanding. Examples from everyday life. Imagine a family gathering where everyone is talking at once. The children argue, the parents are busy, but you sit quietly, observing, listening. Later, when someone asks your opinion, your words carry more weight because they come from reflection, not noise. Picture a friend who comes to you with a problem. You don't jump in with quick solutions. Instead, you listen patiently, nodding, letting them pour their heart out. By the end, they often feel lighter, not because you solved everything but because you listened. That too is wisdom. Why listening is hard for many people. Listening sounds simple, but it's not. Many people interrupt, waiting for their turn to speak rather than truly hearing the other person. But if you've learned the art of silence, if you've discovered the strength of simply listening, then you are practicing a rare form of wisdom in today's world. You've probably realized by now that speaking doesn't always change people's minds. Sometimes, the most powerful influence is listening. When you give someone space to express themselves, they often find their own answers. This is the kind of wisdom that heals relationships, strengthens communities, and brings peace. The deeper meaning of this sign. Listening more than you speak shows a shift from ego to empathy. In youth, we often speak from ego. We want to be right, we want to shine. But as wisdom grows, ego softens and empathy takes its place. We no longer listen just to respond, we listen to understand. If this describes you, then recognize it as a true sign of wisdom. You may not have thought about it this way, but every time you choose to listen rather than dominate a conversation, you are showing strength, humility, and understanding. These are the hallmarks of a wise soul. Sign 2. You value experiences over material things. One of the clearest signs of hidden wisdom is when you begin to place more importance on moments rather than possessions. When we're younger, it's natural to chase after material things. We want the newest clothes, the nicest home, the latest phone, or the biggest car. Society tells us that success is measured by what we own, and many of us spend decades running after those symbols of achievement. But as life unfolds, something changes. We slowly realize that material things fade. Clothes wear out, gadgets break, cars lose their shine, and even homes eventually feel less important. What remains, what we truly carry in our hearts, are the experiences we lived, the memories we created, and the people we shared them with. This shift from valuing things to valuing moments is not just a sign of aging, it's a powerful sign of wisdom. It shows that you have learned what truly matters in life. Why experiences matter more than things. Things can be replaced, memories cannot. A broken phone can be fixed, a car can be replaced, and money can be earned again. But the laughter of your grandchildren, the smile of an old friend, or the feeling of watching a sunset after a hard day, those are one-time treasures. Once lived, they stay with you forever. Experiences shape who we are. Think about the trips you've taken, the conversations you've had, the struggles you've endured. These experiences molded your character, your perspective, and your wisdom. Material things decorate life, but experiences build the person you've become. Memories outlast possessions. You might forget where you put an old piece of furniture, but you'll never forget a birthday party filled with joy, or a long walk you took with someone you love. In the later chapters of life, memories shine brighter than any object ever could. Lessons from age. The shift in priorities. When you were younger, maybe you dreamed of having a big house, a high-paying job, or expensive belongings. And perhaps, over time, you achieved some of those goals. But if you look back now, the joy you felt wasn't in the things themselves, it was in the journey, the moments, and the people who stood by you. For example, that old dining table wasn't special because of the wood. It was special because of the countless family dinners shared around it. That small vacation years ago wasn't about luxury hotels. It was about the laughter, the adventures, the unexpected little moments that made it unforgettable. Even the hardships you faced weren't about what you lost. They were about the resilience you discovered and the lessons you learned. Wisdom is knowing that while material success has its place, it is never the true measure of a life well lived. Everyday examples of this wisdom. Birthdays and gatherings. Instead of expensive gifts, you treasure the presence of loved ones, their voices, their hugs, their stories. Simple walks. A walk in the park, feeling the breeze, hearing the birds sing, is far richer to you now than buying something new. Photographs. You may hold on to photos not because of the paper they're printed on, but because of the flood of memories they carry. These examples show that you've learned to measure wealth in moments, not money. That's wisdom. Why many people struggle with this. Our culture often glorifies possessions. Advertisements constantly tell us we're not enough unless we buy more. People feel pressure to compete, to show their value through objects. But when you've lived long enough to see through this illusion, you realize something liberating. You already have what you need. If you can sit with a friend, share a story, watch your children or grandchildren grow, or enjoy a quiet moment with yourself, then you are richer than any millionaire who feels empty inside. The deeper meaning of this sign. Valuing experiences over material things shows that you've grown beyond the shallow definitions of success. You no longer measure your worth by what you own but by what you've lived. This is a profound sign of wisdom because it reflects maturity, gratitude, and an understanding of life's deeper truths. It also shows that you've made peace with the temporary nature of things. Material possessions come and go, but experiences become part of your soul. By valuing experiences, you show that you've discovered the essence of life: connection, love, joy, and meaning. Stories that prove the power of experiences. Let's imagine two different lives. Life A. A person spends decades buying the best of everything: cars, clothes, and gadgets. At the end of life, their home is filled with objects, but their heart feels strangely empty. Life B. A person spends their years traveling when they can, laughing with family, cherishing friendships, sitting quietly to reflect, and living through both joy and sorrow fully. At the end of life, they may not have as many possessions, but their heart is overflowing with stories, connections, and peace. Which life seems wiser? Clearly the second. Because in the end, it's not the things you take with you, it's the experiences that shaped your soul. Sign 3. You stay calm in difficult situations. There was a time, perhaps in your younger years, when every problem felt like an emergency. A small argument could ruin your day. A financial setback could feel like the end of the world. One wrong word from someone could spark anger, frustration, or sleepless nights. But now, after years of living, enduring, and learning, you've developed something rare: the ability to remain calm when life throws its storms. This calmness is not weakness, it is a superpower born of wisdom. And if you find yourself less shaken by life's challenges than before, that is a clear sign you are far wiser than you realize. Why calmness is a mark of wisdom. You've seen it all before. With age comes perspective. You've seen hardships come and go. You've survived losses, disappointments, and failures, and you've realized that even the darkest night eventually gives way to morning. When new problems arise, you don't panic because deep down you know, this too shall pass. You understand what matters. When you're young, it's easy to get lost in small battles, petty arguments, little inconveniences, the desire to always be right. But wisdom teaches you to save your energy for what truly matters: peace of mind, love, and health. Staying calm doesn't mean you don't care. It means you choose not to waste yourself on things that don't deserve your peace. You control your emotions instead of being controlled by them. Wisdom gives you emotional maturity. You've learned that anger rarely solves problems, and worry only steals today's peace. Instead of reacting immediately, you breathe, you think, and you respond with patience. That self-control is a mark of true strength. Everyday examples of calm wisdom. In arguments, instead of raising your voice or letting pride win, you often choose silence, listening, or a gentle response. You realize that peace is more valuable than winning. In finances, when unexpected expenses come, you don't spiral into panic the way you might have decades ago. You've faced hard times before and you know solutions eventually appear. In relationships, when people disappoint you, you don't rush to anger. You remind yourself that everyone is human, and forgiveness often brings more healing than holding grudges. In health challenges, doctor visits or aches that come with age can easily bring fear, but you've learned to face them with acceptance and courage instead of panic. The story of the storm and the tree. Think of a tall tree. When a storm arrives, the tree bends, sways, and moves with the wind, but it does not break. Why? Because its roots run deep into the ground. You're like that tree. The storms of life may shake you, but your roots, your wisdom, your experience, your faith, keep you standing. Younger trees with shallow roots might break under the same storm. But you endure because you've learned the art of staying calm. Why this calmness inspires others. Have you noticed how others sometimes look to you when things get tough? Perhaps your children, grandchildren, or younger friends find comfort in your presence. They may not always say it, but your calmness gives them stability. When others are panicking, your steady voice, your patience, and your refusal to overreact become a source of strength. You show by example that there is another way to live, not through constant stress but through trust, patience, and perspective. Lessons from age. What calmness teaches. Patience is power. Instead of rushing to fix everything, you've learned that sometimes waiting is the wisest choice. Time itself solves problems that panic cannot. Peace protects your health. Stress and anger damage the body and mind. By staying calm, you're protecting not just your spirit but also your physical health. Peace is medicine. Acceptance brings freedom. You no longer fight every reality you don't like. You've accepted that some things are beyond your control, and that acceptance has freed you from unnecessary suffering. A reflection, the young versus the wise. The young person's reaction. A young person may face rejection, failure, or criticism and feel crushed. Their emotions rise quickly and they may lash out or give up. The wise person's reaction. You, with wisdom, face the same rejection but think, this isn't the end. I've seen worse. I will survive this too. You remain calm, make thoughtful choices, and move forward. The difference is not in the situation, it's in the wisdom behind the response. Why many people never learn this. Not everyone develops this calmness. Some people live their whole lives reacting to every small problem. They let anger, fear, and pride control them. But if you've reached a stage where peace comes before panic, then you've achieved something extraordinary. You've gained wisdom that many never find. This is why you must not underestimate yourself. Calmness may feel natural to you now, but it's not common. It is a treasure earned through years of lessons. Sign 4. You accept that you don't know everything. One of the most powerful signs of wisdom is humility, the ability to admit that no matter how much you've learned, there's always more to discover. When you're young, it's common to believe you have all the answers. You argue to prove you're right. You resist being corrected. But as you grow older and wiser, you realize a simple truth. The more you know, the more you understand how much you don't know. This is not weakness, it's strength. Because humility opens the door to continuous learning. Why admitting you don't know is a mark of wisdom. It shows maturity. Immaturity tries to cover ignorance with pride. Wisdom accepts ignorance with grace. Saying I don't know takes courage and honesty. Keeps you teachable. Wisdom isn't about having all the answers. It's about being open to new lessons, even from unexpected places. Sometimes a child can teach you. Sometimes a stranger's words can change your perspective. It builds stronger relationships. When you admit you don't know everything, people trust you more. They see you as real, approachable, and honest. This humility deepens connections. A story of the wise elder. Think about a wise elder sitting quietly in a group discussion. Everyone else is speaking, debating, trying to sound smart. But the elder listens more than they speak. And when they finally do share something, it's not to show off knowledge but to share a perspective others missed. This restraint, this openness, comes from knowing that wisdom is not about winning arguments, it's about seeking truth. If you have reached a point in life where you can say, I don't know but I'm willing to learn, then you are wiser than most people realize. Sign 5. You share your knowledge to help others. Perhaps the clearest sign of wisdom is the desire to pass it forward. You've lived decades. You've made mistakes, faced losses, and learned hard lessons. And instead of keeping those lessons locked inside, you choose to share them, with your children, your grandchildren, your friends, or even strangers. This act of giving knowledge freely is one of the greatest gifts you can offer. Why sharing is a sign of true wisdom. You care about legacy. You know life is not just about what you achieve for yourself. It's about what you leave behind for others. Your stories, your advice, your guidance become a part of someone else's journey. You turn pain into purpose. Many of your lessons were born from struggle. By sharing them, you transform your pain into someone else's protection. You prevent others from making the same mistakes. You inspire growth in others. When you tell someone, I've been through this and I survived, it gives them courage. Your words may save someone from despair or give them the strength to keep going. Everyday examples of sharing wisdom. You sit with your grandchild and tell them about the mistakes you made with money so they can avoid the same traps. A friend comes to you heartbroken, and you share how you overcame heartbreak yourself. You tell younger people in your community about the importance of patience, gratitude, or kindness, lessons they may not learn in books. These simple acts may not seem grand, but they shape lives. The circle of wisdom. Here's something beautiful. Wisdom is not meant to stay hidden. It is meant to flow like a river. The older generation passes wisdom to the younger, who will one day do the same. When you share your knowledge, you become part of this eternal chain of growth. And the more you give away your wisdom, the more you realize how valuable your journey has been. Your scars become lessons. Your struggles become guidance. Your survival becomes someone else's strength. Putting it all together, the 5 signs. Let's recap the 5 signs that show you may be wiser than you realize. You listen more than you speak. You value experiences over material things. You stay calm in difficult situations. You accept that you don't know everything. You share your knowledge to help others. If these describe you, then you carry within you something far greater than success or wealth. You carry wisdom. And wisdom, unlike money or possessions, never fades with time. In fact, it grows stronger as the years pass. Final words of encouragement. Wisdom doesn't always announce itself. It doesn't wear a crown or stand on a stage. Often, it lives quietly inside you, guiding your choices, shaping your character, and touching the lives of others without you even realizing it. So the next time you doubt yourself, remember, your patience is wisdom. Your humility is wisdom. Your kindness is wisdom. Your calmness is wisdom. And above all, the way you share your life lessons makes you a light in a world that desperately needs guidance. You don't have to be a teacher in a classroom or a philosopher writing books. Simply living with humility, love, and courage, and passing that on, is enough to prove you are wiser than you think. Wisdom is not about knowing everything. It's about using what you've learned to live with peace, kindness, and purpose. And if these 5 signs are alive in you, then you are already far wiser than you give yourself credit for.